Hi, my name is Irene Chen, and I'm here to present NY Sparks data, where can we do better? An overview of what Sparks is. Sparks stands for the Statewide Planning and Research Cooperative System, which was a data reporting tool that was established in 1979. This allowed the healthcare industry and the government to collect specific patient information upon discharge. This, as outlined in the regulations, was to create a statewide data set to help provide healthcare at high qualities but at low costs. This brief is prepared for New York City physicians and healthcare financial planners. The purpose is to improve on the following: the average length of stay for C-section deliveries and knee joint replacements in urban and rural areas, the average total cost and average total charges for the above discharge reasons compared to state averages, and taking a look at Medicare costs compared to the average state cost for different admission types. These are an overview of the dashboard I will get into after this presentation, but here is a quick picture of how we can see the different delivery types of knee joint replacement and C-section delivery. Next, we'll go over the difference in average total cost and charges for rural and urban, average length of stay, and how Medicare costs and charges for types of admission compared to the total in New York City. Let's see. Here is my dashboard. I would like to first start with the average length of stay between rural and urban areas in New York compared to the state. With this visualization, you can see that the green represent the rural areas, while the blue represents this null value, which is actually urban. It looks like the cost of C-sections for rural areas seem quite low. Actually pretty average when comparing to urban and rural areas. You can tell that we can select which one we'd like to see. The average length of stay is about 3 or 4 days for rural areas with C-sections, though the statewide average, however, is no more than, looking at these green dots, average length of stay is about 2 to 4. And urban areas are a little higher with 6 days. And now if we want to compare knee joint in the urban areas, we see the average length of stay statewide is around 4, while we have 7 for knee joint replacement. And we have 11 for rural areas for our knee joint replacement, which seems like a very high number. So with these two measures, it seems like rural versus urban not too much of a difference for these two. I did go, and this is average length of stay, so it seems like services provided are pretty equivalent. But when it comes to the costs, and I'm going to play around with this dashboard a little bit here, because I do want to make this bigger for us to really dive into the data. All right. We see here that our null or urban values do look higher when it comes to the total costs, the average total costs and average total charges when it comes to the length of stay. For C-sections, the cost does seem a bit higher. Oh yeah, here's an example where the cost is much higher than a rural area. And when we look at the knee joint replacement, it's definitely a higher cost in the urban areas. So it seems like having a longer length of stay equates to higher costs. And urban areas seem to have higher lengths of stay. Another dashboard, another image on this dashboard I do want to go over that I found very interesting is the Medicare costs compared to total charges for specific admission types. And as I play around with this dashboard, we can see here it was a little hard to put all three of these graphs in this dashboard and trying to get enough space. There were emergency types, elective, and urgent. And let me just try one last thing to get this to show properly. After playing around with this, I was able to get the graph to fully display, and now we can really take a look at the different type of admissions, which actually are elective, emergency, newborn, and urgent. It definitely seems like emergency care is where a lot of Medicare costs and charges are being spent. If you take a look from 2011 to 2014, the statewide average Medicare charges are much greater than the total charges of New York. When it comes to costs, costs are also much greater for emergency care. Surprisingly enough, newborn care there were not too many Medicare charges, as well as urgent care. So it seems like the Medicare funds are definitely being spent mostly on emergency services. So what I can conclude from the Sparks findings, it seems like when it comes to the costs between at least C-section and knee joint replacement, we can see that urban areas is where we should really focus on providing higher quality care, which could result in a lower length of stay, and with a lower length of stay, the cost will be reduced. Thank you.